Morning, everyone. Welcome to Transition Partners vlog. Everyone hates recruiters. This is officially our sixth episode, where we'll talk about the trials and tribulations of internal recruitment, agency recruitment, trends, good, bad experiences. I'm hoping with this vlog that we can deliver some really good content that will, some really good insights that will help others learn and increase their experience levels along the way and grow their careers. So today I am joined by the lovely Sophie Elms, who we've known for I think a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Sort of on and off. And Sophie is the talent acquisition manager for Arbor Education. And Arbor Education are really designed to make a difference, which I really love the kind of vision of the business. They're on a mission to transform the way that schools work. And I think given particularly the challenges that we've all had, I mean, I'm a mum myself, and I think the challenges that we've all had this year, it's great to know, particularly for myself being a mum, that there's a business out there that are doing some real good within the education sector. So I'll hand over to you now, Sophie, if you want to just give me and us, the listeners and viewers, a little bit of a background, just kind of like a 5-minute story of your journey, and we can go from there.
Cool. Yeah, I do tend to go too far on this bit, so I'll try to keep it short and snappy. I've definitely jumped around quite a lot. So yeah, there's a few stories I imagine throughout the years, but fell into recruitment, as everybody says that they do, quite randomly at 18, more of a recruitment administrator type position.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I didn't do kind of college or university, didn't really know what I wanted to do, worked in retail for a while and fell into a recruitment admin position. Then moved into kind of customer service and worked in like the travel industry, and then just got the bug for traveling. Went away to Asia, did 3 months out there. I knew that I wanted to do Australia as well then for a year, so I came back and was just looking for a temporary position and got a really nice kind of internal account manager recruitment position with Leeds City College. And this is where I kind of fell in love with recruitment, I suppose. It wasn't a mistake, I suppose. It was a really nice position, I suppose, half agency, half in-house. I was based on site with them, recruiting their temporary lecturers across the board, across all of their different 6 sites that they've got in Leeds and Bradford. Working with probably about 50 different hiring managers, so that's where it had that feel of agency, where you're working with so many different stakeholders, all wanting different things, and they've all got their different cultures and personalities within their teams. So I was there for about 1.5 years before I moved over to Australia. So I just went over to did my travelling for 3 months, and then obviously needed to get some money. So I signed up with Hayes Recruitment just to find some kind of admin work, but then they asked me if I wanted a resourcer job with them internally. So worked with Hayes Sydney, recruiting for quite senior level marketing positions in the Australian market. Completely different market in terms of the clients themselves. They're a lot slower, I suppose. The way that they do things, they're just very relaxed, very chill. And then the candidates themselves,
not necessarily a bad thing though, is that?
No, it's not. Yeah. When you want to get things done in you're used to the fast pace yourself, and it can get a little bit tedious, but it was nice to be, in a relaxed resourcing type position, not have too much attached to it. And then I moved to Hilti in Australia. That was an internal position, and they do kind of the high end, kind of the Michael Kors of the tool world. So I'm not a DIY person myself, don't really know much about tools. But they're very well known and a very good employer within Australia and worldwide. Actually, they do really good graduate schemes, and people kind of want to work for them. So that was my first experience of having people, come into me. I'm not really having to find the candidates. So it was more about the volume and getting the quality of those applicants through, doing assessment centres and things like that as well. So by this point, I'd really fallen in love with the recruitment sector. had put my foot in the water with, I suppose, different industries, different sectors, and knew I was coming back home. So started looking at a few different positions and signed up to Lucy Walker Recruitment, where they got me a kind of a temporary job with Step Change Debt Charity, doing some resourcing for them. Again, really loved the ethos behind them and that they were making a difference. And you know, the people that you were recruiting for, you were really making sure that it was the right person fit and not just kind of a decent
bum on a seat sort of thing. Yeah,
definitely. So it had to be the right kind of empathetic type person, and you know, hats off to those people, because I definitely wouldn't be able to be on the other end of the phone. It's a really, really tough job. And as I was temping for Step Change, Lucy Walker actually had an internal role come up with them as well, so it was kind of like the whole Hayes story again. So then started with Lucy Walker as a resource and advisor. Very much on the strategic candidate side of things. The candidate experience for me has always been very, very important. I've not been the best salesperson. I don't think a recruitment consultant role for me would ever work. I really want to make sure that candidates are getting the right fit and getting the right journey, as well as obviously the clients getting the right kind of sell for them as well, and really understanding what they're looking for in a candidate as well. You never want to kind of place someone and then it doesn't work out 2 weeks later. There's nothing worse than that feeling on both sides. And we actually worked with Arbor as a client at the Lucy Walker. I always loved their ethos, always loved selling their story and their mission. And then when an internal role came up with them, it was kind of just a no-brainer, really. So I started about 16 months ago. It was definitely a step up for me in terms of the strategic piece and the branding and really working with the stakeholders and hiring managers. But I love that they give people that chance. I think they can kind of see the desire in some people that really want to do that. So yeah, the rest is history, really. Done a lot since I've been there. I've recruited in every single team now. I think finance was the last one to tick off, which was really exciting. All 3 offices as well, so Leeds, London and Belgrade in Serbia. Not really slowed down during COVID. We've hired 25 people since March, so that's been really exciting to give people that opportunity as well. And still a couple of roles to go until the end of the year. So yeah, full steam ahead, really.
Fantastic, sounds great. And I love that the whole way through your career you've kind of stayed in that kind of like community-led industries, and obviously I can see that it's really important for you that you are you know, as much as you love recruitment, the key thing for you is about doing the right thing and the fact, you know, I guess matching the right person for the right role and right company, and which is fantastic. Brilliant. So you've had a little bit of a stint in agency side, and then I guess because I saw that you'd worked at Lucy Walker, but I didn't realise that was an on-site role. So back into kind of internal. Is that, what do you see the major kind of differences between internal and agency?
I think the reason why I wanted to go internal, my main difference is that you're working on behalf of one business and you really get to become a part of their culture and their ethos. I think recruitment agencies, you know, good ones that are definitely out there. I've been on the agency side. I definitely don't slack them off. It's a hard job to do. You know, they can try their best, but if you're working for, say, 10 different clients, 20 different clients, it's really difficult to really understand all of their teams and the personalities and the real needs and the challenges that they're going through, or how you can sell their different projects and their culture. And the culture can change from team to team as well. You might be recruiting in engineering and then marketing and then product, and it's completely different in all 3 of those. So I think you can just really embed yourself into the culture and what they really need, and really be able to sell that to the different candidates that are out there as well. It also gives me more time to do a bit more branding and attraction piece as well for just one company. So I don't know if many people have got me on LinkedIn. I can be a little bit annoying on there. So I do share quite a lot of our stories, a lot of
that's great to see though, and it's
I really enjoy doing it as well. I think there's things that really need to be celebrated, but you know, internally, and some of that might be down to the marketing team to celebrate how many schools we've won, but I think in terms of the talent acquisition and people team, we should be celebrating people's promotions and, you know, new joiners and things like that. I've also done a few vlogs recently, so I've got one booked Friday with former teachers, so we've actually got quite a lot of ex-teachers and ex-school people working at Arbor, who really understand the challenges of working in a school and being a teacher or an admin, and what this product can really do for their schools, which is just expertise that you wouldn't find elsewhere. And I did one recently with our senior management team, which we've got 6 women out of 9 people in the management team, which for a tech company is kind of unheard of. So I really wanted to celebrate how well we do with women in tech. So there's going to be lots of things going out on there. And I think just being able to dedicate and devote yourself to kind of that internal piece is really important to me. On the agency side, obviously, I think it seems like it's a lot more fast paced, and I thought it might be a little bit more relaxed and internal, but that's not the case. And there's still lots of things to do. And I think there's a little bit more analytical in the statistics as well, a little bit more kind of market mapping and things like that. It's a lot more proactive rather than reactive. I've found it's not just picking up the phone, speaking to hundreds of different candidates, but that's all part of the fun, I suppose.
Yeah, no, definitely. Sounds like you're doing a great job of it as well. What would you say, in your opinion, what are the key 3 things that makes a good internal recruiter?
I think someone who really themselves works with the company, working well with the stakeholders and the hiring managers. You're not just finding, as we've mentioned before, kind of putting bums on seats. It's really got to match with the business, so understanding their needs. I think it's going to be different from company to company, so you've really got to, I suppose, take away what you've previously known and maybe learn it again from scratch, really learn their recruitment processes and be able to work with them on how to make that more efficient. Kind of a big project that I've worked on since I've started is making the recruitment and interview process for candidates and hiring managers as quick as possible, as efficient as possible, getting feedback to candidates. But I think understanding the challenges that the stakeholders or the hiring managers have first of all is how you can then action those things, because time is always going to be a big challenge for people in the office. Recruitment for engineers, we know, historically they're just so hard to come by. When you find something, you need to move quickly. So just how do you work with the hiring managers on that, on making sure that we can move as quickly as possible? So just understanding their needs, understanding their teams, understanding their current challenges, and how can you work on that together. You've got to work as like business partners, I suppose, internally. And then I think a real passion for candidates, a real passion for, seeing the right things within them, not just looking at a CV and judging a CV. I'm very much, especially even, when it comes to customer service people, we might have 100 applicants and I might speak to 50 people just to kind of find the right people. You can always, I could have whittled that down to 20, but it's really about the right person for us. And I think it's very difficult to see on a CV. So really speaking to people and giving them that chance, and also giving them indicators on where they can go elsewhere if there's not something available for us. I'm very proactive on, seeking out other positions that might be a good fit for them, or sharing them in DBR, or sharing people on LinkedIn if they're looking for something quite actively, especially in the current climate. Like, everybody needs a little bit of a step up where they can get one, because it's really, really difficult out there. And hooking people up to communities and networks is a massive thing, which I think you guys have really helped out with as well. You obviously do fantastic events and communities and networking, and that's something that I think we've started on, but we've only kind of just scratched the surface on, really. So I think that's a big thing for internal, is getting your branding out there. Who knows about Arbor in the Leeds and London market? We need to just make ourselves as present as possible, really.
Well, that's part of your talent attraction strategy, isn't it? Which is, I've seen that you've been putting out quite a lot of great things on LinkedIn and trying to push that and drive that for the business, which is fantastic. And it feels and comes across as though it's something that you really enjoyed doing and you're passionate about. I've got another question, and then I won't mind going back to you mentioned about DBR. It might be worth telling everyone a little bit about DBR, because it could be things that I guess others could get involved in, and I don't know a huge amount about it, but obviously it could help other internal recruiters as well. But before we go on to that, I just thought of another question. Then I personally, I've never done, held an internal recruitment role, but I know, I've got lots of friends and contacts that have, and probably not so much recently, but some of the feedback that I've had from people that I know that have been in internal recruitment roles is that they found it quite challenging, and find it challenging to get buy-in from stakeholders, and and that the talent acquisition team or internal recruitment team and the managers, it can be very kind of separate, and that's them, this is us kind of thing, and they don't quite work together in partnership. What advice would you give to all internal recruiters out there that are struggling with that particular situation right now?
I think historically that's been quite a well-known challenge for any TA type team or internal recruitment, or even HR when they're doing recruitment themselves. And I think it's just because historically hiring managers or stakeholders or team leads have had CVs through from agencies, booked them in, not really realised what the fee or whatever would be attached, but it's a great person, got them started. They kind of just did it themselves. So for someone specifically in TA to come in and say, right, this is a new process, you're going to have to fill out all of these forms, you're going to have to come to me with this, we're going to have to do a proper job description, get it
just see you as a blocker,
get a budget, they see us as hurdles and as barriers. I think what you have to do is prove yourself more than anything. There's not really much else you can do than give that evidence that you've hired these 5 people that are amazing, and they've shown they've proven their worth within the first 5 to 6 months. I think show them the monetary reasons as well. Not to kind of get rid of all agencies, but if you can show that you'd have to prove your own salary as well. Why would you not use agencies, and show them what they spent last year and what could they have used that on instead. I think it's like any other role that comes into a business, you kind of have to build those business cases and bring it back to them to be able to show them in numbers, in black and white. You can't make it too touchy-feely, I don't think, because then everyone gets a little bit emotional about it. But then on the emotional side of things, you do have to understand their concerns. Is it because they don't want you to put too many barriers in place? Well, don't make it too difficult for them either. Work out a process together. You can't go in there and say, this is what I've done for 10 years of my career. It's not necessarily going to work in every single business. Work with each hiring manager on what's going to work for the business, for their team, and come to some sort of compromise where possible. And don't take it to heart too much either. It takes time to kind of build up those relationships, definitely, by proving yourself and having that evidence, I think.
No, I agree. I think it can be quite easy, like you say, to take it personally, but a softly way in and gradually building it up over time is probably a good route in. And like you say, every stakeholder and hiring manager will work their recruitment process differently and want different things out of it. And I guess it's rather than going in and wading in and being like, right, this, like you said, this is how I've done it for 10 years and this is how we're going to do it. How do you like to run your recruitment process, and then try and, I guess, advise and, like you said, a compromise.
And it's really interesting on the flip side as well for me to think, I've done it for that amount of time. Actually, he's made me think about, why do I do it that way as well? So it makes you also think about better and more efficient ways to look at your own processes as well. So it definitely works hand in hand.
No, fantastic. So going back to DBR, you're part of a group called DBR, aren't you? I don't know if you want to give a little bit more information.
So it's a Slack platform where you can, internal recruiters and HR professionals, head of people, that kind of thing, can share lots of different things on there. So there's different Slack channels on there. One might be for candidates that I use quite a lot, sharing candidates that are looking for work. They might have just been pipped to the post with those, or maybe we don't have a role available at the moment. There's someone who I worked with at Lucy Walker. I placed him in his current role. He's a fantastic candidate. I know that it's been made redundant. So sharing people like that are looking for something. Then you can also look at, you can share roles on there as well. So if I'm struggling with a particular position, you can share them on there. People might have, think, I actually recruited for that 6 months ago. Let me have a look at the talent pool. There's people kind of sharing knowledge. So there's also helps and tips and general stuff around tools or systems. If someone's looking for a new ATS system or a new HR system, they'll kind of just give reviews on, we had like an insight demo to what Bamboo HR or whatever it might be. What do you think of it? Is it good for a scaling company? So it's just people sharing their knowledge, and it's a really good way to find mentors on there as well. There's a lot of mentorship that goes on. It also is just a kind of a bit of a place to vent as well. There's some really funny stories on there. If you've got, half an hour free on a Friday afternoon over your lunch, and you want to laugh at some funny stories and think, oh God, it's not just me that's going through that. So yeah, it's a really, really nice platform. There's hundreds of people.
And you have meetups as well, don't you, every now and then?
Yeah, definitely. So they were mainly based in London. Obviously they're all virtual at the moment, but there's definitely more stuff happening up in the north as well.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. So how would someone go about joining DBR?
I believe you would have to get in touch with one of the administrators. I think one of the best people to get in touch with would be, you're asking me now, the details across later.
Would they search on Slack for it, or LinkedIn, or how would?
Yeah, on LinkedIn, if you search for a DBR admin.
Right. Okay, cool, fantastic, brilliant. So I think it'd be great to, although I think I probably know the answer to this, but one of my other questions is that you're obviously very, very passionate about what you do. You said before that you love recruitment. Why do you love recruitment?
I think I love talking to people. You can tell on this that I just love talking in general, and I don't know when to stop. I really enjoy, I think from the beginning, I've really enjoyed being able to give someone a chance to have a job that they really enjoy. And I think another thing with internal as well is that you get to see that person grow within that position. I've now been here 16 months and I've been able to see, I think 4 or 5 people get promotions, people into different roles in the project team. They've moved from customer service to project, or someone who's been made a team lead. So it's kind of like seeing a little kind of project growing. It's like seeing a flower grow, and getting new flowers and things. So it's really, I suppose, it's just really rewarding to see people kind of enjoying that position and doing really well in the business. I also think it's such an integral part of any company to have a good TA function if they've got the capacity for it, to really help bring people on board that are going to help their business as well. There's that commercial side of it. Although I'm not doing sales and I'm not trying to win clients, on the agency side of things, I'm wanting to bring people that are going to really benefit the business and help us commercially as well, whether that's sales, marketing, customer service. We want people who've got that commercial benefit as well. So I think both sides, seeing the candidates really enjoy their job and seeing them add to the business as well.
Yeah, fantastic. What's the best bit of advice you've ever been given that you think would be useful for others to hear?
I think just really understanding the roles and the teams. I think just looking at a CV or looking at a job description can be one thing, but I think you've really got to sit down with the hiring manager and potentially other people within the team as well to see what's going to be the best fit for them. Kind of, understanding what do they do on a day-to-day basis, what are the actual projects that they're working on, not just, if you're thinking about tech roles, not just necessarily what's the tech stack they're going to be working in and how many years experience, really what's going to be an exciting sell for them. As you know yourself, they're like gold dust to find anyway, good developers. But so how do I sell it on my side as well? But also for me to understand, because I'm a recruiter, I'm not a technical person myself. I can kind of blag it as far as I can, but to actually understand what they'll be working on, who are they going to be working with, what are the progression routes for them? So just really understanding that particular team. And if you have to do that every single time you get a new role with them, then it's worth it, because things do change and things evolve. Since I've been here over a year ago, the engineering team has grown by 5 or 6 people. We've now got more people in Leeds. There's lots of different things happening because of COVID and the things that we're shipping out to the schools and new features. So it's just keeping it on top of all of the new things that are happening. Don't become complacent thinking you know that role because you recruited for it 12 months ago. Just really understanding those teams really and building those relationships with the stakeholders and having that kind of business partner relationship.
Yeah, fantastic. Brilliant. So what's next for you then? What's on the agenda for Sophie over the next 12 months?
Yeah, so I think this has been a step up for me in terms of my recruitment career. So I've really learned a lot in the past kind of 12 to 16 months. And I think I've now got a lot of things in place that I wanted to put in place, new interview training, new interview processes, making sure it's as smooth as possible. So I think the next step for me is looking more strategically at talent attraction, building those pools of people that are a little bit more hard to find, and the analytics side of things. I think it's very hard to track what you want to do unless you've got that base number of what you're currently doing. I've also been working quite a lot in our diversity guild as well. So I think a lot around the talent attraction, networking communities around D&I as well. We've just kind of put a survey out internally to again find out that baseline of what Arbor's made up of first, to see what areas we need to build upon. So that's going to be a big thing. It's a hot topic, I think, for a lot of companies at the moment. And I suppose we're not jumping on the bandwagon, it's always something that's being spoke about anyway, but because there's so many great initiatives out there at the moment that we can kind of steal ideas from, or share ideas with other people, it's a really fantastic time to get the ball rolling on D&I as well, which is a huge topic. And then I just think as well, more networking around engineering and devs, that's going to be a really big push for us in 2021. So
let's hope we can start doing some of them face to face soon.
Absolutely. Getting out there in the community more, working with more kind of universities and code camps and things like that as well would be fantastic.
Fantastic. Sounds like you've got a busy year ahead. Great. Fantastic. So final question at the end, I always like to ask for people to nominate someone who you think would be, that would give some great kind of tips and advice on this particular vlog. Is there anyone that you would recommend who you think would be worth us having on the vlog?
Great question. I think two people would be really interesting to speak to. Rachel Gold, who I worked with at Lucy Walker, has now moved into more of a training position, so she kind of does different training courses for consultants. And then Laura, again, who I worked with at Lucy Walker, she's moved to MPS, so she's now internal. So there's two really different sides of the spectrum there. Laura also was a Lucy Walker candidate. She's also done office management. She's also been a PA, so she's got a very interesting story to tell, I think.
Oh, fantastic. We'll have to reach out to them. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much. Really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed talking to you and finding out a bit more about your background. And I'm sure the listeners and viewers of can take a lot of really good content there. And there's you're doing some amazing things at the moment, and I can see that. I'd already seen how passionate you were about the business and driving the culture, and the good that you're doing at Arbor. So if anyone wants to reach out to you for advice and any questions or opportunities, obviously you're recruiting as well.
Or just a coffee and a chat with sort of a different face than what they're used to.
Fantastic. So will LinkedIn probably be the best way for people to reach out to you if anyone's interested in having a chat, and you're open to having kind of, I know you mentioned mentoring and things before, but you're open to helping and giving back, and that'd be fantastic.
Definitely so.
Brilliant. Great. Well, thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure to have you on.
No problem. Thanks very much for having me.
Thank you. Take care.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.